Hi friends, this is Calpun Piso, and as usual, I present nothing but facts. Something that everybody seems to completely forget. The main thing is that we are evolved mutated primates, product of coitus, that emerge out of our mother's cave, lacking belief on anything, with a brain that's been floating around in the in the womb, underwater, amniotic fluid, no air, just like a fish. And then we emerge, we are born using our brain that is lacking belief to navigate the earth. Using what? Our five senses. You know, sight, smell, hearing, touch, taste. That's what we navigate the planet with. We are evolved mutated primates. And the problem is that our brain creates thinking, gathers knowledge, information during the imprinting period. We keep learning. But we are crazy apes. We have imagination due to coronavirus in our genome. 47 million years ago when we evolved. And this idea is sipping in and making us crazy apes that create God, create stupid beliefs to make sense of our environment and of everything, to answer all the questions, and also to cope with the fact that we will die, we suffer disease, and the only life after death that we will get is bacteria eating our remains. We are crap. We are full of viruses. There is no God. God is a mental illness, the belief in God. And faith is simply a psychosis, a pretending to know things that we don't know. So you say God did it. Instead of reading books, connecting things, information, becoming skeptical, and asking questions, oh no. Lazy, deluded ignoramuses. That's religious psychosis for you. If you believe in God, you're a theotard, you're extremely ignorant, reading of only one book. Aha, so that's the way it is. That is a fact. Don't care how much science you read, how many religious things, Hey, the fact is that you were born out of a fuck. And if you believe in God, you're crazy. You have a problem with your brain. You're no different than schizophrenic. Only children and the very, very ignorant have an excuse. If you're educated, you have a PhD, and you believe in resurrecting zombies that say with blood, you're crazy. You have a problem with your brain defect. That is a fact. We have to keep that in mind. And that's the reason why every time in my YouTube videos I mention this, because religious beliefs is a dangerous cancer. And you can see what's happening in the United States of America with the GOP and with the crazy people, around that, the Tea Party and the old morons, imbeciles, and Romney with believing all these golden plates and the Mormons and the Adventists and all the rest of Christ psychotic. These people are incredibly theotarded. They're stuck in the past. They have a problem with the brain. They believe in this life after death crap and spirits. No, we are not in the 12th century or 5th century. We're in the 21st century, when the science of neurology proves that we create the mind with the universe within, the universe inside our skulls, in the brain, forming the brain. That's what we create thoughts with. You study science, quantum mechanics, and it's all right there. A fact. Here are some clips proving my point. You see weird things. This guy said that tomatoes are Christian because of that. That's pareidolia, malfunction of the brain.
In early times, evil spirits were thought to possess people and make them act in strange and frightening ways. The study of this hysteria led some doctors to believe one person could have separately functioning personalities. film from the 1920s, a woman has different personalities who believe they are separate people. Have been known by different names, but recognized for centuries. Today, it is called multiple personality disorder.
And where are those multiple personalities created? It's not the ass, it's not the liver, it's not the heart. It's the brain. And you see people that believe in all this resurrecting zombies that say with blood, people that believe in God have many multiple personalities in many ways. They believe they're filled with the Spirit and they're talking in tongues, all this crap. And they believe in all this stuff. They believe the Spirit. They believe in demon possession. They believe in haunted houses. And they believe also in aliens that come around to Earth, the ancient alien crap. Conspiracy theories, the government of the United States was responsible for 9/11. All the rest of irrational, stupid thinking. They're crazy people. Religious psychotics.
Many personalities, and one of them wants to kill her. A wife and mother becomes a 5-year-old who is just learning to write her name. Buried in the unknown depths of their minds.
If you don't open your mouth, the Holy Spirit can't talk. All right, now I want everyone to raise your hands, and we're going to pray in tongues. Hallelujah. That don't know anything about Christianity. Lead them to the Lord in a matter of just no time at all. And because they're so open. They're so usable in Christianity.
See, this is the problem. This is a psychosis. It is schizophrenia. And these people are allowed to pervert children, corrupting their brains here in America. And this is disgusting. These people belong in mental institutions and the brain should be corrected. And it's not done because America is a Christianity-infected nation. That's the problem. That's disgusting.
Neurotheology, this is getting very close to something I always say, which is that religion is a neurological disorder. What is a brain?
Meditating or praying or even speaking in tongues, which was our last study.
Be made whole by the power of God.
Speaking in tongues?
Yeah, we study people speaking in tongues, and
Today,
I mean, they're not really speaking in a language they don't know.
it's not an actual language.
Right.
Oye, que mo oto kuti kuya kadi komokota atatoya kama chikiti o makuti kasi kalaka o makobota kota kuku o mamo utapini kabuka amakapika kuti kabuka amukondo di katu kamaki. Yes. This from 2003. Religion is organized schizophrenia. Believe in zombies that resurrect, to say with blood, is a psychosis, a mental illness, and that's at the root of Christianity. Keep in mind, Ellen Gould White was the founder of the Adventist. See? 1827. Prophet of God. Psychotic people. Christ psychosis. Believe in zombies that resurrect with blood is a mental illness. A fact. Let's deal with this fact. Problem. Cancer of the brain. This deluded, ignorant, psychotic, sadomasochistic, crazy people going over with places that don't belong. One of them was Rodney. Mormon Rodney that went to France to convert everybody to Mormonism. Look at that. It's like a cancer. Cancerous growth. See that? The problem is that people ignore the fact that they're creating thoughts with the brain. This is ignore. It's like you're constantly breathing and people ignore that. Well, they shouldn't. Especially scientists, brilliant men like Dawkins, Harris, Dennett, Myers, which are mentally healthy. In other words, they are atheists. Because that's what it means. Atheism means to be mentally healthy. And then, religious is synonymous with schizophrenia, with mental illness. And it should be defined as such. And they don't do it. Like there's a freedom from religion foundation. Well, there's something missing. It should be freedom from religious psychosis foundation. Then it would make sense. Because people that believe in gods, they are delusions created by the brain, have a problem with the brain. They're defective. Schizophrenics and temporal epileptics, and if I can, people suffer from trauma with the brain, the thoughts are distorted. They accept fantasies as reality. Right there, hit somebody over the head or give them some drugs and you see what happens. And this is the problem. And this is not seen, and it's very bad that people don't see these things, especially intellectuals like Dawkins. He wrote a book called The God Delusion. And the man doesn't even mention the neurological disorders like schizophrenia or anything like that. In his book, none. Read the book and see. He talks about delusions, and he doesn't mention mental illness at all. He doesn't mention schizophrenia at the least. So he is blind. He has tunnel vision. Because he doesn't even understand, being a doctor, and all these degrees, doesn't even understand that a delusion is produced by the brain and it's a malfunction. It's a form of neurological disorder. Delusions are produced by defective brains. Dawkins, I don't know that. And this is the problem.
In Genesis, and there are many other, the whole foundation, if you like, of the basis for our faith is the account.
And Abraham.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Abraham, the one who nearly killed his son.
Now look at this. People are usually not ignorant of history and they believe whatever the Christian tells of the Bible say. And I think Richard Dawkins is like that too. He has a DNA helix in the background. This guy is completely crazy, telling him all this bunch of crap. And it's like the guy is psychotic with all these delusions of Abraham and the angel that appeared to Isaac and all this stuff and to sacrifice your son. And Dawkins is actually saying, oh, but he did this wrong and Abraham, killed his son. I mean, come on, Dawkins. Well, you ask this guy, how do you know that Abraham existed? It's no proof that he existed. It's fairy tales from a book of myth that, taken from the Egyptian mythology. People don't resurrect. There's no angels floating around. All this stuff is crazy. Let me give you a little bit of LSD and you'll be talking like Isaac and all those crazy people that wrote the Bible also. And the Quran, all the religious texts. All the religious texts are written by people that are sick with drugs. They're influenced by drugs that were very common in those days. Doesn't Dawkins know this? I mean, he wrote the God Delusion. What kind of a nonsense is that? So this is the problem. He don't call the guy on being crazy. I mean, don't you realize that you're creating all these thoughts that you're telling me with your brain? And you're just thinking and reasoning like a schizophrenic? Why don't Dawkins have some balls and tell that to this guy?
Moral story, is it?
It prefigures really what the Lord did, offered his son.
It does. Each other, both the stories.
Well, if you look at it initially like that, at first glance, yes, you might come up with that conclusion. But look at the whole Bible, and you look at particularly the life of Christ. He had such compassion. He wept with those that wept. Temptation of God.
If Richard was educated in ancient history, which I'm certainly is not, he's very ignorant of it, he will realize that Jesus Christ is not a last name, Christ. It's a title. A title that was used and has many, many different variations. A title that was used by the only true God in those days. The son of Venus was Julius Caesar, the Christus. Come on, Richard. Oh, you learn some history. Get educated. Learn Latin, Greek, and all that. Come on. Aren't you a scholar? So anyway, doesn't it really let people feel? And you cry and you whip? Hey, if you have your girlfriend that is very beautiful, you want to get around with her and she doesn't give it to you and she doesn't spread those legs, so give pleasure to the Lord Jesus Christ and give you a good time, blessing you with orgasm, what are you going to do? You're going to weep and you're going to cry. I couldn't get any pussy. But that's exactly what happens. Come on, Richard. And this is the problem today. Atheists, mentally healthy scholars today are clueless. They must begin with the fact that we're proud of the fact, and we create God with the brain when it malfunctions, unable to tell fantasy between fantasy and reality. Only children and the uneducated have an excuse.
For a good man, the story that he gave his life for our sins is a story that was made up later. Very unpleasant story indeed. I mean, the idea of the scapegoat, the idea...
Well, Genesis, let me stop you there. Genesis chapter 3, verse 15, I believe it is, actually talks about that there would be a Messiah.
Oh boy. A story that was made up later. How was this story made? That is based on fairy tales like any other religious book. Wasn't it made up by the brain? Come on, Richard. I mean, isn't it created by brains? Why don't you just bring up a guy that suffers from schizophrenia that appears normal, but he believes in these implants in the brain that makes him, these aliens that monitor his thoughts. Come on, Dawkins, why don't you invite him and put it next to this other the chrysopsychotic infected imbecile you're talking to? Oh man, it's crazy. I think Dawkins' brain auto-evolved. He should see a neurologist and make his brain evolve. He's having a problem here.
Bruised in the heel, almost put to death, but raised. That if you look at that, Bible scholars, the very first prophecy in the Bible,
Time and
alluding
again,
to Christ.
you come back to a biblical quotation as though I'm supposed to be impressed. I mean, why would you expect me to be impressed?
I'm not trying to impress you. For you to have your belief in evolution and long-term, sort of understanding evolved, I would just ask you that, I'm not going to be rude to you, I'm asking you my position so that you can see where the differences are, yes. And perhaps open for discussion.
I consider your position. I'm reading the Bible, and I've...
Dawkins is clueless.
There's no
Clueless.
reason why you should read the Bible rather than any other.
Doesn't know this guy doesn't know that he's creating thoughts with the brain? What's wrong? This is the problem today.
You pointed out mirrors that.
Point it out, Richard. Come on. Don't be clueless. This chrysopsychosis infected imbecile that believe they're resurrecting zombies, I say, with blood, is asking Richard Dawkins that he's believe in evolution. And Dawkins is, I can't believe him. He's so stupid in many ways. I mean, the guy is brilliant, but he's so stupid. He tells him that, and he takes it. And he says he's the one to insult him. Why don't he ask the chrysopsychotic infected imbecile, it says, my belief in evolution? Well, evolution is a fact. That is the fact that you are creating your thoughts and the mind with the brain. Product of evolution. Because you were created by a fox, you were not created by a stork. So if you believe in this, you were born lacking belief, in other words, an atheist. And if your brain believes in resurrecting zombies, as I said, with blood, you're no different than many people that suffer from schizophrenia or temporal lobe epilepsy that believe that aliens put implants in the brain to monitor their thoughts. What's the difference in believing in a resurrected zombie that's with blood and aliens that put devices in the brain to monitor thoughts? Same thing. So the guy is crazy. So you should actually tell him that he's crazy. Come on, Richard, you're not insulting him. You're telling him the truth. He's a chrysopsychosis infected imbecile that should go to a mental institution and have their brain fixed. Religious, bizarre mathematical beliefs, which are no different to those of schizophrenia, are created in the brain. And taking medicines can affect the beliefs. Here are the different type of drugs. Look at that. Lots of them. Come on, if you're believing God in zombie Jesus, take one of these drugs, and believe me, your beliefs will change. From the BBC, schizophrenia brain fault found, and guaranteed. These beliefs are not to those of people of faith, because people of faith of many religions, they all accept bizarre mathematical beliefs. They all have delusions, illusions, and beliefs in resurrecting zombies, as say with blood, and angels, and demonic possession, etc., as if they were reality. And they're no different at all than the schizophrenics. So people that suffer from temporal epilepsy, or people that suffer from trauma to the brain. This is actually a fact. And people don't seem to realize that, especially mentally healthy atheists. The greatest danger that humanity has today in this 21st century is the mental cancer, the psychosis of God belief. There are many gods as the brain, the infected brain, can create. This is the problem. And they're not taught science in schools like it should be, and the teachers are all infected with religious psychosis of many types, and they're always under these delusions. They're not aware, and the teachers and scientists don't make these people aware that the brain is the creator of all of thinking, of the mind. I mean, the brain doesn't receive these thoughts of God from the air. No, it creates them according to how healthy the brain is. If the brain is healthy and it can't tell between fantasy and reality, then it learns and picks up information, learns, getting rid of the bullshit of fantasies and something. And then the brain is healthy. It's an atheist brain. And this should be taught in school, science. And when science is not, you don't teach science, and the whole natures are under this religious psychosis of believing God, then you stagnate the intellect, make people theotarded, idiots. And this will happen in the United States, which is a Christianity-infected nation.
Economic plans for a deficit-free future. Meet the T-evangelicals. Or part of the Tea Party, or at least agree with their agenda. They come in all shapes and sizes.
Already, government shouldn't spend more money than what it takes in. We should follow the Constitution, and I'm a believer in Jesus Christ, so I think that makes me a T-evangelical.
See, the problem is that believing in a zombie God that says with blood, at the basis and the root of Christianity, is not seen by scholars and brilliant scientists, and many of them, for the mental disorder it is. It's a schizophrenia-like aberration created in the brain when the brain is sick. And this is what is not seen. There's a big elephant in the room. This is why I make my YouTube videos. Now, here's a very good example. Excellent example. You have these lunatics, cryptocurrency infected imbeciles, that have a creationism museum. Now, here it is. One of the most brilliant men that lives in Arizona, where I live, brilliant. I admire him tremendously. Dr. Lawrence Krauss. The man is amazing with all these numbers. I mean, he wrote a book called The Universe from Nothing. Brilliant. I mean, what a brain this man has. And yet he was protesting over there at the Creationist Museum, said it had nothing to do with science or anything like that. But he missed the most important point, saying that these people have a problem with the brain. They're no different than schizophrenics. If he would have said that, oh man, he would have told the truth. Right there. And then it will explain why these people are so crazy to build the Creationist Museum. And how people are stupid, because they are like schizophrenics. They're people with defective brains. And he would just, 2 seconds, it would have just immediately opened the eyes of everybody. He would have said that. These poor people belong in a mental institution and belong in an insane asylum, because they're no different than people suffering from mental illness, like temporal lobe epilepsy, schizophrenia, schizoaffective disorder. They cannot tell fact from fiction. They believe in resurrecting zombies that say with blood as reality in this 21st century. It would have been brilliant. You see it here.
Why, as a scientist, I'm here to speak out against the so-called Creation Museum. Why, as I'll talk about later, this really has nothing to do with religion. It's a question of science.
It should be. It should be.
And questions. And we let nature give us the answers.
It's creating everything with the brain. You should mention that.
Here they claim to know the answers already.
Now, I'm going to explain why it is so dangerous to have the most powerful country in the world, the United States of America, which is a Christianity-infected nation. Why it is so dangerous to have its leaders infected with Christ psychosis. The neurological disorder nobody sees. And it's everywhere, but nobody realizes it because they don't connect the dots and put them together. Religion is organized as schizophrenia. A religious belief is synonymous with crazy beliefs, with the schizophrenic beliefs. But here's the example, how dangerous it is to have a POTUS, which is President of the United States, a title, the same thing as Jesus Christ, which is also a title, from Archerios Megistus. Julius Caesar was an Archerios Megistus, it was a Jesus Christ, then Tiberius was a Jesus Christ, the Emperor Nero, also a god, was a Jesus Christ, and etc., etc. Washington was a POTUS, Jefferson was a POTUS, Kennedy was a POTUS, and President Obama is a POTUS, a title. So now here is the dangers to have a Christ psychosis infected imbecile running the country.
Then President Bush reportedly having claimed that God told him to go to war. Mr. Bush reported as having said, quote, God would tell me, George, go and fight those terrorists in Afghanistan, and I did. And then the tyranny in Iraq, and I did. Our fifth story on the countdown, it turns out that God received a rather hefty assist from Donald Rumsfeld. Newly released memos showing that Mr. Bush's defense secretary, having placed on the cover of his daily reports to the president biblical passages and corresponding war imagery that carefully framed the mission in Iraq as nothing less than a Christian crusade.
And now you'll see the contrast on POTUS Obama. A mentally healthy, in other words, an atheist leader of the country, a summa cum laude. Tremendous brain this man has. Very smart. But he cannot tell you that he is sane, that he's an atheist, because otherwise he would never have been elected. Because the majority of America are crazy people infected with the zombie God belief syndrome. And it was interesting the way I realized that he was mentally healthy. Because in the United States, you have churches everywhere, psychotic people, theotarded, imbeciles all over the place, running the country. 6 members of the Supreme Court of the United States, SCOTUS, they're actually infected with the zombie God belief. And 6 members. The other ones are mentally healthy, Jews, because the Jews are practically, mentally healthy. They don't believe all that crap. It's all tradition. But see, this is the thing. And now you'll see his speech here. But it was very interesting when he took the oath of office from a Christ-psychotic infected Justice Roberts. Then now, actually side with the to have this law of the mental health care reform for his own benefit, because it's going to be in history, even though he believed in resurrecting zombies, as I said, with blood. But when he gave Obama the oath of office, he had to swear over the largest compendium of crap, delusions, mythologies, and disgusting sadomasochistic beliefs called the Bible. He had to swear to tell the truth on this compendium of crap and lies. I'm going to tell the truth on the Winnie the Pooh book. And of course, he was forced to. What else can he do? But Christ psychosis infected Roberts mumbled the words. The sacred words of the oath of office. That was an amazing opportunity for this brilliant man that we have as president of the country, Obama. We were lucky to have him. You know what he did? He says, he corrected the Justice Roberts with the words, saying the right words. And then he suggested to take the oath of office again inside the White House. This hasn't happened. this time without a Bible. That was brilliant. Nobody seemed to notice it. And now this reason he just explained about religion. And they say war against religion. It's not a war against religion. It's war against the mental illness, the psychopathy of some begat belief, which is Christianity, which is religion, which is a mental illness. And here it is. Look at the contrast.
At least not just. We are also a Jewish nation, a Muslim nation, and a Buddhist nation, and a Hindu nation, and a nation of non-believers. If we expelled every non-Christian from the United States of America, whose Christianity would we teach in the schools? Should we go with Leviticus, which suggests slavery is okay, and that eating shellfish is an abomination? Or we could go with Deuteronomy, which suggests stoning your child if he strays from the faith? Or should we just stick to the Sermon on the Mount, a passage that is so radical that it's doubtful that our own Defense Department would survive its application?
See, with the Christ psychosis infected imbeciles in America didn't understand is the mentally healthy atheist POTUS Obama was not attacking religion. It was attacking the mental illness of some begat belief, which is synonymous to religion. Is crazy equals a schizophrenic. So the same thing. When you say a religious person is a crazy person, it's a Christ psychotic infected imbecile, and that's what he was attacking. People don't realize that. So I hope you enjoy this. Hey, everything I say is backed up with, it has the evidence to back it up. I don't bullshit. I just connect the dots and tell the facts. Pace di oro.